Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Shifting Gears. I'm your host, Clutch. Still in July, still no word yet on any Diablo 3 beta. However, Star Wars: The Old Republic Collector's Edition has been announced. You can pre-order the standard, the digital version, or the full-on Collector's Edition online or at your local game retailer. Receive a promo code and put that code into the online system for the Star Wars Old Republic website, and you will have access to the game early on. You also get a crystal that can change the color of your lightsaber, and some other goodies for pre-ordering the game. So check it out. It is exciting that this game finally will be coming out this year, hopefully. Some are saying October, open beta, or at least a closed beta with more people in the beta in September, so we'll see. In relation to that, I want to talk a little bit about Star Wars Galaxies. That was an MMO that came out, back in 2002, 2003, which was a pretty cool experience. I had played right when it came out, and the immersion of that world and the ability to explore and create your own story was pretty awesome. There were a lot of issues as far as balance with the combat. Everybody was trying to get Jedi, it seemed, and to unlock the Jedi class, you had to do a lot of grinding. You had to go through different professions. You had to find these holocrons that would tell you which profession to go to next. It took a lot of time. I think the first person to unlock Jedi was November of 2003. I think it was November 7th of 2003. A lot of people have the opinion that ruined the game. The ability to have a Jedi was kind of outside the lore to begin with, because the Jedis were pretty much all destroyed except for Darth Vader and the Emperor, which were the Sith. And anyways, you can throw any kind of expanded universe lore you want at it to include more Jedi, but the PvP was awesome in that game, the player versus player. We would be in a cantina in Mos Eisley, and somebody would yell, "Dude, the Imperials are landing at the shuttle base, we got to take them out." So we would all gang up and start taking them out, and the Imperials, as soon as they would land and spawn in that area, headshot, just bam, bounty hunter would take them out. And so he would go back and get a bunch of his Imperial buddies, and it would just be full-on war for a good couple hours in that city. We'd have dancers in the cantina buffing us before we'd go out. So there's a lot of cool aspects and a lot of fun to it. But, the combat wasn't completely balanced. There were a few bugs. The Jump to Lightspeed expansion pack was incredible. Here you had an MMO-style game, but the expansion was Twitch-based. You had a starship, you could do missions, and it wasn't turn-based combat. It was point-and-click and shoot and fly, and it was a very cool idea. And you could upgrade your ship based on different missions you had, or crafting abilities, or if you could buy them off the economy. So it was an incredible experience. What had happened was Sony came out with the combat upgrade, the CU, and that changed the scope of the game. They wanted to change some balance issues, but it was like a new game altogether. And then they made the new game experience, the NGE, which came out later, where you could start off as a Jedi, and people were jumping ship. They did not like this game at all. They wanted to go back to the vanilla Star Wars Galaxy experience, the original experience. So this December, Star Wars Galaxies is shutting down. All the servers will shut down. It's because Sony's license with LucasArts expires, plus this new Star Wars MMO is coming out. People are going to jump to that. The great strength of Star Wars: The Old Republic is the amount of story and written material they've put into the story, or they've put into the game. Will that create issues with the gameplay? Will that create issues with content they can generate? Because everybody's going to be used to voice actors for every character, and so will it take longer for new content to come out? Blizzard had addressed that at BlizzCon, I believe, when they were talking about the Old Republic and the ambition that BioWare had to create not just a gameplay immersive experience for a massive multiplayer online game, but to create a storyline that is very engaging, that you can still enjoy on a mass scale with other people. So that aspect I'm really looking forward to. The combat and the idea of getting away from the traditional MMO style of having a tank, damage dealers, and a healer is interesting as well. We'll see how that turns out. But hopefully those models or those casts of what it is to have an MMO or to play an MMO and what it is to have a group or what you're looking for in a group can shift and change. And I think Guild Wars 2 is changing that as well. Somebody had told me that there's going to be no healers at all in Guild Wars 2, that you will have the ability to heal yourself no matter what class you have. So we are seeing a progressive movement in these next generation MMOs, and Blizzard is working on an MMO. It is still under lock and key. We still don't know exactly what's going on. I have heard rumors about this, rumors about that, but hopefully in this next BlizzCon we'll have a little bit more information. The NASL was, I believe, a success. They did a great job. There were some technical difficulties. With the NASL, the main problem that people had is they had paid money to watch it, but the audio issues were continually going on. You had the left and right channels not synced up together. The microphones on the stage weren't properly synced with the gain on the soundboard, so people in the audience could have heard the microphone, but you can't hear it over the internet stream. So they had a lot of those issues, and I'm sure they were working on it. I'm sure they knew about it because people on the Justin TV stream that had the ability to chat, the ones that had paid money to watch this, were continually saying, hey, let's fix this, let's go, come on, I paid money for it. Anyway, the gameplay and the matches were sweet. It did take a long time between matches, which got annoying to some people, but it definitely was a success. And a surprise that came out of nowhere is this Lindsay Spore. Hello, Lindsay. This is what had happened. Lindsay was a runner-up for Miss California. And she was hired by the NASL, this is my understanding, to be an on-camera person to do interviews, eye candy for the most part. And she was told that she would have an opportunity to play the game and understand the mechanics of the game to know what she's getting into, but that didn't happen as far as scheduling or whatnot. So she's on the floor, never playing the game before, and trying to get a crash course of what's going on. Now, the internet community can be harsh, most definitely, but they're on the internet saying, why is this girl who doesn't know anything about the game in front of the camera? Let's get somebody else. Well, guys, because she looks great. That's why. It's this eye candy card that they're playing. Hey, we want to attract the eyes of all the nerds out there with this really pretty girl. But what was really funny is in an interview, she asked this guy, so what's your favorite matchup? ZVG? Now let me give you, if you don't know why this is funny, let me break this down, okay? In StarCraft 2, you have 3 races. You have Zerg, Terran, and Protoss. Zerg, Z, Terran, T, Protoss, P. So in your matchups, if it's Protoss versus Terran, it'll be abbreviated to PVT. Zerg versus Terran, TVZ. Protoss versus Protoss, PvP. All right, so those are the abbreviations for the game. So she asked, what's your favorite matchup? ZVG. And the floodgates opened. On Twitter, on Team Liquid. Whoa, we got to know the ZVG strategies, man. I got to work on my ZVG. It's a new race. It's the 4th race. And people were saying, it's the Gracken race. Anyway, it was pretty funny. All right. I'm happy that Lindsay's a part of the esports community now. She received a lot of fandom, and a lot of people started following her Twitter and liking her Facebook page, so good for her. Some people will complain that, we don't need people that don't know anything about the game to do these kind of interviews. Well, guys, they've done the same thing in sports for years. They'll get a really pretty girl, they'll start her out, usually they'll have a sports background because they've had an older brother, or they went to college and supported the team, but they're there because they look good, and the added bonus is they know what they're talking about. So I say let's give Lindsay a chance, all right? I'm not going to say no to a girl that was up for Miss California to be involved in the esports community. I think it's great. But I also think it's important that she understands more aspects about the game so she can be more engaged in the interviews and ask questions that are pertinent and deeper than, so what's your favorite, so what's your favorite? And I'm not knocking Lindsay at all. I understand her profession. I myself am an actor. I haven't done that much modeling, but I took some courses on it. And you are there as a nice-looking human to present these things. So if she's at MLG Anaheim, if she's at future esports events, I definitely like to meet her, take a picture with her. Who wouldn't? But I am open to more of the. I'm open to the idea of these hired out, contracted personnel to be involved in esports because they look good, and then also it gives them an opportunity to be in a niche community where they're welcome to know more. Because this community has a lot more guys in their late teens, early 20s, or 15 to 35, whatever demographic it is, that are very attracted to attractive women. Once again, congratulations to Puma for that amazing victory at the NASL. In my final segment today, I wanted to talk about the end of an era, the end of Harry Potter, at least for now, until they create more books or an MMO or they reboot the entire franchise in the movie business. But trilogies, sagas, the best ones have an ending. It all has to end. If there's a beginning, there's an end. Okay? And to take a journey, you have to start somewhere and you have to end somewhere. Otherwise, it's not a journey, it's just a perpetual experience that never ends, and it can get monotonous. So, with Harry Potter, which I thought was stupid until I read the first book, and then I became converted. Read all the books after that and enjoyed the movies. There were elements in the movies I thought were not as well done as they could have been. There were really strong points in the books that should have been highlighted more in the movies. However, in Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2, I believe they did a very good job, and also The Prisoner of Azkaban. Those three are my favorite within the realm of the movies for Harry Potter. This last movie is an end of an era of a lot of people that have grown up with Harry Potter. A lot of people in my generation are slightly younger than myself. Now, a lot of people, it's like a love or hate relationship with the Harry Potter franchise. And a lot of people say that Harry Potter is stupid to look cool in front of their friends or whatnot. I mean, that's just for about everything. But it seems that this whole Star Wars generation or Star Wars era kind of people look down on Harry Potter. Or if you like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, you don't like Harry Potter. Now, that's not true. And my reasoning may not be 100% or reflect a lot of people. But I've seen like a lot of my friends that I enjoy a lot of things with don't like Harry Potter and shun it away. I honestly don't know what it is. Maybe one of them read the book and didn't like it. That's fine. But the books are not Shakespeare. They're never meant to be Shakespeare. They're kids' books. But Stephen King, I'm quoting this from a Twitter post that somebody made. Stephen King said that Harry Potter is about doing the right thing in the face of adversity. And then he said Twilight is about how important it is to have a boyfriend. I've never read the Twilight series. I watched the first movie. I laughed a lot because it was goofy to me for this one guy. I forgot his name, but he just shows up on camera and does that. And I straight out laughed out loud for a good couple minutes. But people are in love with these series because they can relate to something within the theme of those books. Sagas have to end, and I want to bring this up in regards to video games. Mass Effect 3 is the last game in the saga about Commander Shepard. Will they come out with something else later? Probably. But this is the trilogy, this is the end. There's a great climax, there'll be a big ending, I'm sure, to end the storyline. that has to happen for us to fully enjoy the storyline. If the game perpetually went on for 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 series, okay, I mean, that's great. I'm sure there's a lot of cool writing, but it has to end sometime. All right. Diablo 3. Will this be the last game in the franchise? I don't know. Will they move on into a Diablo MMO? I'm not sure. I don't know what Blizzard's plans are. But it seemed to everyone within the community that had played the second game that this was it. There's no more story after all three of the brothers from hell are dead and the World Stone is destroyed. But somehow, 20 plus years later, Diablo's back. I'm sure they'll tie it into something, to some sort of spell or prophecy or something from the past. But the storyline isn't over yet. The key to this sort of development is the power of these storylines is in the developer's hands. And that can be dangerous. Because the developers are not seasoned writers. They're not novelists. They're not great storytellers. They're producers that want to make money. They're video game coders. There are these great teams that have different sections of the game that are very important for a successful game. But in order for the storyline to have an impact on the masses, to make the events of playing this game memorable, you have to have a journey that ends. And that's my opinion. All right. We saw the journey end in Lord of the Rings. We saw the journey end in Star Wars Episode 6. It was a fitting ending, but the expanded universe has exploded that into almost infinite timelines, backwards and forwards. But with these upcoming trilogies, Gears of War 3, Diablo 3, and Mass Effect 3, they are the ends of a journey. So, thank you very much for tuning in. If you have any questions or any comments, please leave them, and I will address them to improve this awesome show. MLG Anaheim is around the corner. I'll have at least one more episode before that amazing event is upon us. I look forward to meeting any of you who want to meet me in person. I will be running around, making sure everything needs to get done in my capacity working with MLG, but it's going to be an incredible, incredible event. So stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you online.